Hello, my name is Carolyn Miranda. Today I'm presenting my informative speech talking about the correlation between caffeine and adolescence. Picture this. Your alarm is blaring in your sweet dreams. You roll over to turn off that pestering noise, sit up, kick off your covers, and the first thought that comes to your mind is, but first, coffee. Like most Americans, you stroll to your kitchen, turn on your coffee pot maybe, or brew a cup of tea. Or maybe even just grab an energy drink on your way out. According to the Kiwani Health Center, in an article entitled Caffeine, America's Most Popular Drug, states that 90% of Americans drink caffeine on a daily basis. The average adult is recommended only drinks about 3 to 5 cups of coffee or 140 milligrams. This is a safe or reasonable amount of caffeine for an adult. However, most adolescents drink over this amount and experience symptoms that are much far worse and life-threatening. Due to this, it's important to know what caffeine is, first of all. Second of all, it's important to know the type of symptoms that adolescents can possibly experience through the influence of caffeine. And thirdly, the dangers that follow and what to look out for just to make sure nothing serious or dangerous occurs to an adolescent. So number one, what is caffeine? Caffeine is found naturally in about 60 different species of plants and can also be made synthetically. Caffeine is simply a central nervous system stimulant that blocks adenosine. Adenosine is something that is a chemical, specifically, that is naturally released in your body that calms the body down, and often you experience drowsiness or even just relaxation. Caffeine blocks all of this, which causes you to be more alert, raises your blood pressure, and more awake, which is why most people take or drink caffeine, because they want to be more awake and focused on a certain thing. So these side effects are typical for anyone when they drink coffee. Like, these effects always mostly happen, although caffeine does affect people differently. It definitely affects adolescents much differently. So number two, negative symptoms in teens. One, it can increase a teen's anxieties. Teens already have a lot of anxiety going on. They are stressed about life. They have school to worry about, parents to worry about, making friends, so much more. But caffeine is only going to increase these anxieties despite the ones they already have, which can lead to more mental health issues and even depression. And teens that already have depression experience more symptoms that are severe, more suicidal thoughts, etc., which is a very scary topic. Two, caffeine also has a negative effect on an adolescent's sleep because it's blocking adenosine's receptors. It's making a teen more alert and awake, therefore they're not going to sleep consistently at a consistent time every night. According to John Hopkins, a medicine pediatric, he states that a typical teen needs about 9.5 hours because they are developing. Just as a baby is developing, a teen is also developing. So it's so important that they're getting this sleep in order to function and also grow. Also, caffeine can lead to irregular heartbeats. Yes, this can happen to most people. However, teens often try to live life on the edge, kind of. Or a typical teen doesn't always concerned about their health. They're more concerned about, the popular topics, So it's so scary to think that a teenager that is drinking too much caffeine, that is experiencing irregular heartbeats, their heartbeat is extremely fast, or it's not consistent, and they wouldn't even know the difference. Most adults would be concerned with their health. However, most teens are just living life to the fullest. So, which leads to a third point. What can be done to avoid any potentially dangerous situations? So, according to Kevin Joy, the author of an article entitled Parents Perk Up to the Dangers of Caffeine, a student, David Allen, he was 16 years old. He drank a Monster, I think 2 cups of coffee, and a Mountain Dew in about the span of 3 hours. He was in class and died instantly. All the students just looked at him and were confused about the situation, but apparently he had a caffeine overdose. So it's so important to educate teens about this topic. A lot of parents just assume or tell your children, like, oh, it's fine, just don't drink too much coffee. Like, that doesn't do anything. Teens need to know they tend to test the limits by nature, and guardians should be more aware of any abnormal behaviors. 2, teens need to make sure that they are concerned about their own health. They need to be more informed about caffeine and the risks that follow. So in conclusion, young teens need to be aware of their caffeine intake, obviously. Also, so do adults, honestly. But there are so many positive things that teens just assume caffeine will give them, like, oh, I'll have so much energy. I don't need to sleep as much so I can do so much more things. However, this needs to be in moderation, because if it's taken out of proportion, there's so many dangerous things that can happen. I didn't honestly know any of these things. Well, I knew some of them in general. However, I did not know how extreme drinking too much caffeine can lead to all these crazy things. Even someone died from caffeine is just mind-blowing to me. So this research taught me a lot more about how I should moderate my own caffeine consumption, especially drinking coffee. Coffee and energy drinks are super helpful, but nothing is worth putting your life on the line. So thank you so much for listening.